This is Algebra 2 1.4 Solving Absolute Value Equations Part 2. There's only 3 problems left, but we ran out of the 15-minute cutoff on the first video. So on video 2, we are just going to work through 2 more problems that are like the last one that we did on Part 1, and then a word problem. So remember on Part 1 I said that you can't start solving the absolute value part until it's completely by itself. So what we have to do on this one is get the absolute value bars completely by itself. What you want to start with is that minus x there, and so we want to take care of it by adding x to both sides. So we have 2, bring everything else down that we haven't messed with yet, and we get 4x minus 4. The other thing that we want to do is get rid of this 2, and so they're multiplying by 2, so we will divide by 2. Remember that inverse operation there. So then we have the absolute value of x plus 1 equals 2x minus 2. Now it's set up where we can start solving. So you have x plus 1 equals the positive version of 2x minus 2, or x plus 1 equals the negative version. Don't forget your parentheses, very, very important. Will change your entire answer. And so we solve it. For this one, you want x by itself. Now, does it really matter whether I subtract this x over or the 2x over? Not really. Let's keep it positive. Let's do it different than we did the last one. We'll subtract the x to the right side. This cancels, and you get 1 is equal to x minus 2. I'll add the 2 to both sides, and you get 3 is equal to x. So we have one answer so far. Let's solve the other answer, plug them back in, and see if they work. On the other side, remember the first thing you have to do is distribute that negative sign. So you get x plus 1 is equal to negative 2x plus 2. Then on this one, I'm going to add the 2x because I like to keep my variables positive. So you have 3x plus 1 equals 2. 3x equals 1. X equals 1/3. So you have 2 options for your answer. You have 3 and you have 1/3. So you need to scroll back to the very original problem. That's where what you check your answer in. So this part right here. So what I want you to do is get your calculator out, and I want you to type it in. I'm going to kind of walk you through some steps here, and if you don't understand, stop me in class and I will show you where the buttons are. If you can type in the absolute value bars in the graphing calculators. So we're going to start by typing in 2, and you're going to hit your time sign. The older calculators, you need to hit the time sign. The newer ones, you won't. But we'll go over that later, which calculators, which are asked me in class. And if you hit the second button and then your 0 button, it pops up, and the first thing is ABS. ABS is absolute value, so you're going to hit enter. And we're going to type in our first option, and it opens parentheses for you, and so you'll put 3 plus 1, close your parentheses, minus 3, and you'll hit enter, and you get the answer of 5. So our first answer, 5, and we want to know, does it equal the other side of 3 times 3 minus 4, and we get 5. So we know in our little squiggly lines that 5 is going to be an option in there. So now let's go and plug in the 1/3. So if you type in 2 times the absolute value of 1/3, and anytime you put a fraction in the graphing calculators, you need to either use the fraction button or put parentheses around it and do 1 divided by 3. So 1/3 plus 1, and you get, and then you also have to do that minus 1/3 at the end there. And you get 2 1/3. And we want to know, does it equal the other side? 3 times 1/3 minus 4. Now on that side I get negative 3, so they don't equal. So I'm not sure why I wrote 5 over here, because the answer was 3, wasn't it? So the 1/3 is not an option because it doesn't make it true. The 3 is our only answer. So 3 is what you would write down. 1/3 does not work. Okay, the next problem. 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 2 minus 2x equals x plus 3. Again, I would like you to pause the video, work it on your own, and then once you have finished or once you get stuck, start watching the video again so you can see where we're at. Go ahead and do that now. Okay, so hopefully you've just pushed play because you worked the problem out. And we're going to be solving this problem. The very first thing that I want you to do is get that negative 2x to the other side. So we'll add 2x. So you have 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 2 is equal to 3x plus 3. Again, this 3 here is multiplying by the absolute value, so we're going to divide. 2x, the absolute value of 2x plus 2 is going to equal x plus 1. And so now we're ready to solve. 2x plus 2 equals positive x plus 1, and 2x plus 2 can equal negative x plus 1. Start solving, so we'll subtract x. X plus 2 equals 1, subtract 2. X equals negative 1. That's one of our options. Let's go to the other side. We have to distribute the negative sign. We'll add this x. So we have 3x plus 2 equals negative 1. Subtract the 2. 3x equals negative 3. Divide by 3. X is equal to negative 1. Well, this is nice because we only have to test one answer. So we're going to plug in the negative 1. And again, you can type all of that in your calculator at the same time. So 3 times the absolute value of 2 times negative 1 plus 2 minus 2 times negative 1. So I get an answer of 2. We want to know, does 2 equal negative 1 plus 3? And we all know negative 1 plus 3 is 2. So negative 1 is our answer. Perfect. Okay, we have one more problem to do. It says a standard adult tennis racket has a 100 square inch head plus or minus 20 square inches. Write and solve an absolute value equation to determine the least and greatest possible sizes. So what I'm going to show you is the formula that will always work when you're working with absolute value equations. So it's the absolute value of x minus c equals r. You need to write that down because it's very, very, very important. C, we're going to label it C, represents the center value. And R represents the range. Okay. So when you're reading this, you've got to think of what is the center value and how much can it fluctuate. Well, when you're reading this, your center value is your 100 square inch head. How much it can go on either side, what your range is your 20. So when you're writing this equation, you're going to say the absolute value of x minus 100 is equal to 20. Then you'll just solve it. X minus 100 equals 20. And x minus 100 equals negative 20. So if we add 100 to both sides, x is equal to 120, or x is equal to 80. So our tennis racket can fluctuate in size of 80 to 120 square inches. This will conclude part 2 of solving absolute value equations.